Hi everyone, welcome back to our anti-bind trading modules. This is module number 5, the selling process. In this module, we're going to be talking about our positioning statement, the elevator pitch, segmentation, and selling on value. So the positioning statement is going to be talking about the advanced plasma treatment, how we're going to have ultra low protein binding characteristics, and we're going to have the high maximum protein recovery and with no leachables or extractable that may interfere with chromatography applications. And our microplates can be used for chromatography application, long-term storage, and bioanalytical assays. Again, the microplates are manufactured in the United States. They meet the SBS and ANSI dimensions for automation use, and they are DNase or RNase free. This positioning statement is going to be available online and in your sales sheet, so you can take a look at it in more details. Elevator pitch, again, this will be handed off with you in the sales sheet. But this is a longer one. The Wheaton anti-bind microplates featured the patent advanced plasma treatment technology, offers more recovery than any other protein in the market, especially when proteins are present in lower concentration. This is without having any leachate from the treatment or the polypropylene in the presence of common chromatography solvents. These plates are perfectly suited for sample storage, assays, and chromatography application. Here's another elevator pitch. It's a little bit smaller, and this one takes into consideration the fact that we minimize and virtually eliminate sample loss due to non-specific protein binding, which is going to translate into sample savings and operational cost savings. Moreover, the treatment is non-leachables. It's not leached in the presence of chromatography solvent. And again, we want to and then please check out our websites. We want the customer to go onto the website. Everything is going to be housed in the website, and by everything I mean technical notes, product drawings, product features, product benefits, and how to order, and also how to request a sample. So we want to drive the customers to the website. So if they like your elevator pitch and then you go into the lab, you have to see what application the scientists are working on or the researchers are working on, and this is really the pyramid. So this is our target audience: protein storage, chromatography, high throughput screening, and rare protein. And as we go higher on the pyramid, the technical difficulty or of the assay or experiments also gets higher. The importance of using the correct microplates, the importance of the sample, and then the conversion rate. So the higher up you go, the higher the chance that you're going to be able to convert the customer from whatever microplate they are buying right now into anti-bind. Again, this is for module 3. This is a sample workflow. It tells you where anti-bind is being used and where is it and how is it being used. So for after sample collection, it's going to be used for long-term storage. If we do a little bit of sample preparation or cleanup, we can use the microplate for storage activity and also storage activity, or we can pass it on to chromatography. Now, in chromatography, the microplate is going to be used for collection and or injection. So again, the lower we go down into the purification steps, the more the samples becomes valuable because the researchers spend a lot of time in it or on it, and the more time you spend on it, the more expensive the sample and the more valuable the sample is going to be, and therefore anti-bind will work great down here because it gives more value. So again, with anti-bind, we're going to try to put a value tag. We cannot put a price tag on it. So how are we going to do that? Let's first of all take a look at our differentiating attributes. So again, attribute number 1 is we have ultra low binding low protein binding treatment, which translates to sample savings, money savings, detection of protein that couldn't have been detected before. So these proteins or these markers are present in a very low concentrations or low abundant proteins, and then once you put them in the assay in the buffer assays, they stick to the microplate and the researcher is not able to find them. Again, if you have all your protein in the sample and it's not sticking, you can get more reliable results of your experiment, and then you can also save the researcher some time. Attribute number 2: no interfering leachables from polypropylene or treatment, and that translates to more accurate experimental data. So there are no ghost peaks. It's really the only plate that have low protein binding treatment or characteristic and can be used for chromatography techniques, and again it's going to save experimental time. So this is the attribute, and this is the value that it can bring to the customer. So anti-bind value correlation. So let's not talk about anti-bind anymore. Let's talk about the researcher. What do they do, and what is the anti-value correlated to? So we're going to find out that the correlation is going to be in sample value, the difficulty of the experimental procedure, the importance of the experimental results, the awareness of protein absorption problem, and risk management versus cost savings. So the higher these values are, or the more maximized they are, or the more aware we make the researcher or the scientist aware of these, the higher the value or the more likelihood we'll be able to sell anti-bind. So the value of the sample is correlated to, or I mean, is proportional to, or a function of the rarity of the sample, the cost associated with the sample, and the time the researcher spent on the sample. So some of the question we can ask them: where did you get the sample from? Is it from a rare diseased patient? Did you purify your sample yourself? How long did you work on the sample for? And or did you buy that protein from somewhere? And if so, how much that is? Again, we also want to maximize the importance of the experimental results, or allow the researcher to understand the value of his results. So again, we're going to ask them how important really the experimental results are to them, and they are proportionate to the fact if there is a race to find a new market protein. So if there is a competition between this lab and the next door lab, they're working on the same thing, but they just one wants to get it quicker than the other. So this is especially going to come into play whenever you talk with biotech companies. So you have 100 biotech companies, they work on the same thing. They're trying to find specific biomarker. So the one who's going to get it the first will be the one who's going to be enjoying the return of their investment. So again, having anti-bind used is going to allow the researcher to find out, or is going to help the researcher to find out that rare protein that is present in very low concentration. Again, the more complicated the experiment is, the more uncertainties with the experiment, the more the researcher should try to eliminate the different variables, and protein absorption is being eliminated by the use of anti-bind. And again, and finally, pending financial compensation on publications. If these data is being used as part of a publication or part of a grant as a preliminary results, then it's very important to have these preliminary results and these results for the publication correctly and accurately. So we have to make sure that the researcher understand that having accurate experimental results is a lot more important than paying a little extra, few extra bucks for anti-bind. Now, if the scientist is aware of the protein absorption, it's great, because if they are, then they can understand the value of anti-bind. If not, then we have to make them understand that protein absorption is gonna be a value of the starting concentration, the buffer used, and incubation time. So the more you're gonna have your protein in solution, the longer your assay, the more loss you're gonna experience due to protein adsorption issue. Um, this would help you change the mindset of the customer from concentrating in cost and then shift their mindset to risk management. Because at the end of the day, anybody's position is at a greater risk for purchasing the wrong or failed product or getting the wrong results than if they buy an expensive products. Here is a second way of looking at it. The purchasing process starts for problem recognition. So the researcher or the scientist is aware that there's a problem, and the problem here is going to be loss of protein due to protein adsorption leachable. They're going to go online, they're going to do information search on protein adsorption and how can it be avoided. They're going to look at our anti-bind versus competition when they evaluate the alternative, and then they're going to make a purchase decision. And then after they purchase it, they also going to evaluate what their expectation is. And if they do that and they're happy with the product, then this is an annuity business. So that customer is going to be buying antibiotic microplate for at least the next 5 years. So you only have to get them once, but once you have them, they're going to be good for the next 5 years. So your job, here's a survey, and they ask, when is it most helpful to engage with sales? And 35% of correspondents, they said that the protein recognition, 35 said during information search, and 16 evaluator during the evaluation of alternatives, and 14% during purchase decisions. So you want to be here, so you want to explain and then help the customer understand the problem and help them through finding solution to the problem. And again, our problem is protein adsorptions. So the problem is protein adsorption. The symptoms is if the researcher is unable to detect a protein that is known to be present. So if the researcher tell you, yes, I know the protein is there, but I can't find it. I'm not able to help it. I can't find it. So that's probably because the protein got absorbed to the walls of the plate and it's not present in solution anymore. Now the researcher adding any BSA solution to block the protein from absorbing to the walls of the plate. So this is protein incubation. So they're using a standard polypropylene plate and they're doing BSA incubation. Also, if the researcher is running additional mini samples or using high concentrations. So that's problem number one. Now problem number two is leachables into solution. So getting access ghost peaks or peaks from leachables. And the symptoms is the customer is running additional samples and he's using more samples and needed to elevate the signal to noise ratio. So if he sees these two problems and he sees the symptoms, then you want to make them understand. You have to teach them and educate them on the protein adsorption problem and how anti-bind can help them with that. And again, if it's leachables, then you have to explain to them that our treatment does not leach in the presence of commonly used organic solvents. Information search and evaluation of alternatives. So again, you can show them our protein adsorption process, and then you can show them our TechNote 1 and TechNote 2. So these are going to be available online, so you can guide them to that, and that way they will see that we are better than the competition. Also, there are sample request is here as well. Purchasing decision, again, we want to convey that our anti-bind is a differentiated product, therefore the researcher has more weight than the purchasing agent. Purchasing, we made it very easy for the customer to purchase our anti-bind products, so they are available through different channels and also Wheaton website. And we want to collect and share success stories. So we want to do post-purchase evaluation. Did the product or did the plate work as well as you hoped it to be? and then we want to share that with our potential customers. So in summary, antibody microplates is a value cell. The differentiated features are ultra low protein binding treatment, which is going to equate to sample saving, money saving, detection of protein that couldn't be detected before. Um, there are no interfering leachables from polypropylene or the plasmid treatment. So we're going to get more accurate experimental data. That's the only plate that has low protein binding characteristic and can be used for chromatography technique. And also we can save on experimental time. So anti-bind value is a function of or related to the sample volume, the difficulties of the experimental procedure, the importance of experimental results, the awareness of the protein absorption issue, and the risk management versus cost-saving mindset. So the more you maximize these variables, or the more you bring them, or the more you bring them to the customer and help the customer understand these values, the better chances you'll have of selling NT-Bind. Okay, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed module number 4.